So for geometric mean part 2, we're still going to be talking about the same idea of these sides being proportional. Again, I highly recommend you draw out these triangles every single time. I promise you it's going to help you. So let's start with small, medium, and large triangles. Starting with my small triangle here, I've got the long leg. We're paying attention to where that right angle is. The long leg is X. I don't know the hypotenuse, but I can find the short leg. Here's the new-ish stuff. We got to do an extra step here to get that short leg. So in order to figure out what this is, I need to take the entire length of that side, which is 6 radical 5, and subtract the part that I don't want, which is the 4 radical 5. Hopefully you remember from Thursday, we did a bunch of radical rules. Our rule for adding and subtracting radicals is that they have to have the same base. They have to have that same radicand on the inside. And then we leave that alone and only are subtracting the coefficient. This is like 6x minus 4x. You get 2x. So 6 radical 5 minus 4 radical 5 is 2 radical 5. Okay, if you don't remember your simplifying radicals rules, definitely go back to that graphic organizer. So this is 2 radical 5 here. Moving on to the medium triangle. X is the short leg, 4 radical 5 is the long leg. And maybe we can already see our proportion that's lined up here. Let me just fill in the hypotenuse of this one just for fun. But here is my proportion. X and 2 radical 5, 4 radical 5, and X. Again, this goes back to our simplifying radicals rules. When I multiply radicals, they don't have to be the same on the inside, but I'm going to multiply everything on the outside together. So 2 and 4 make 8. And then everything on the inside together. 5 and 5 make 25. 25 is a perfect square. X squared equals, I'm just going to leave it, 8 times 5, or 40. Well, let's make it 40. That's not too bad. And that needs to be simplified all the way first before we take the square root of both sides. So whatever 8 radical 25 is needs to be simplified all the way down to 40 before I take the square root of both sides. X equals the square root of 40. And then I simplify my radicals one more time. The square root of 40 is 4 times 10, or X equals 2 radical 10. Everybody good with that? Okay, flip it over to the other page. I got 2 more. Once again, I'm going to start by doing my triangles. Small, medium, oops, let's change that color, and large. I hate the way those triangles are, by the way, so sorry that I keep retrying them. All right, small triangle. The shortest leg of this small triangle is 1. The long leg is y. The hypotenuse is 3. For my medium triangle, I have the short leg is y, the long leg is x, and the hypotenuse is z. And then for my medium triangle, my large triangle, the short leg is 3, the long leg is z. This hypotenuse, we're adding 2 pieces together. That should be x plus 1 as my hypotenuse. Everybody good there? This is an example where we could use the Pythagorean theorem here. I have 2 sides of this right triangle, so if I use the Pythagorean theorem, I could figure out what y is. Maybe we do that just for fun. Let's do it. Why not? So let's do 3 squared plus 1 squared. No, sorry, I lied to you. 3 is my hypotenuse. So 3 squared equals y squared plus 1 squared. That's my Pythagorean theorem. Leg 1 plus leg 2 equals leg 3, right? the hypotenuse. Let's simplify. This is 9. Oops. Equals y squared plus 1. Subtract 1 from both sides. That's 8 equals y squared. Square root of 8 is 2 radical 2 equals y. So there's an example where we could use the Pythagorean theorem there. You didn't have to. There's other ways. I'm going to fill that in now that I have that information. So 2 radical 2 and 2 radical 2 for y. Then let's move on. Let's see if we can figure out what x is. Oh yeah, there's a couple different ways we could find x. So I can now find x. I could either do this x plus 1 goes with 3, 3 goes with 1. Or I could do 2 radical 2 goes with 1 and x goes with 2 radical 2. It kind of depends on whether you like to work with radicals or not. Let's do this one because I feel like we've done enough radicals for right now. So let's line up those two. So that is 3 over 1 equals x plus 1 over 3. 3 times 3 is 9. X plus 1 times 1 is x plus 1. So x equals 8. So this is 8, and this is 9, because that's x plus 1. And now that we've filled that in, hopefully we can now see what we need for the z's. I'll erase those markings. Here's what we're lining up for z. 8 and z, z and 9. Cross multiply. Square root both sides. This is 4 times 2 times 9. Both of these are perfect squares. Z equals 2 times 3, 6 radical 2. Does that sound right? A lot of steps here, a lot of steps. Did I lose anybody along the way? Or are we all good? Okay, let's do the last one. Okay, can I get some help setting up my triangles? What do we have for my small triangle? Short leg, long leg, hypotenuse. What do we have for that small triangle? This one right here. Casper. Beautiful. Anybody got the medium triangle right here? Caitlin? Perfect. And then lastly, for this large triangle, I see a couple different things here, actually. I see the short leg is 10 and the long leg is z. For my hypotenuse, not only do I see that the value of it is 20, but I know I could also get to 20 by doing x plus y. So maybe just write that off to the side as well. That might come in handy in a second. Everybody good with that part? So now I'm starting to look for what can I line up. Naturally, we want to start with x. But if I take a look at this x, I know x can't line up with z, and there's nothing on this long leg in order to line up with x. So I can't start with x. I got to start with something else. Let's start with y's. This y can go with this 10. Can't go with this z. So I know it's got to go with 20 and 10. So 20y equals 100, or y equals 5. And now let's revisit the x's. What's the easiest way for me to figure out what the x value is? Without setting up another proportion. Dahlia? Because x plus y equals 20. So if I fill it in my diagram, if I know that this part right here is 5, then 20 minus 5 will get me x. So save yourself some work if possible. Let's fill in those things because I have not been filling those in. So that's 5. This is 15. This is, oh, we're good there. So now we're going to finish it off by doing the z's. Now that I have enough information for the z's, z goes with 15, 20 goes with z. Z squared is 15 times 20. Square root both sides. Let's FOIL this out a little bit. 3 times 5 times 5 times 4. That's a pair of 5s. That's a perfect square. Z equals 5 times 2, 10 radical 3. I think that sounds right. And we're done. Any questions on this?